Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Leadnap Gaming. Today we're going to talk about the control changes in the new flight model in 3.5, and I bring this up because yesterday I released the video regarding the new flight model and just kind of my initial impressions, and I've spent a lot of today talking with people about control changes, and I think there's an easier way to look at this. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take off here. I'm going to be talking specifically for keyboard and mouse controls here, because I think if you can understand that, understanding how to port that into your HOSAS, HOTAS, or game controller setups is going to work. So spacebar and control still operate our strafe up and down just like they did in the past, so I'm just going to go ahead and kind of strafe up here. Now, I would have done this in a single-seater, but I made the decision to do this in the Connie actually because it has the biggest HUD and it's the easiest place to see this stuff. So with that said, we're going to kind of point ourselves away from the sun here and go ahead and kind of start getting moving here. So in the past, remember that we had the W and S key, and the W and S key operated much like both a strafe and a throttle command. So as long as you were under your standard cruise mode speed, SCM speed, you would continue. You could hold W, and as long as you didn't reach the max SCM speed, if you let off, you would just hold at that speed, right? So I'm going to go ahead and move my landing gear really quickly just while we're explaining things on the HUD. This is the landing gear icon, so you can see I'm lifting my gear and away they go. Now, precision mode and SCM modes are gone, and we'll talk about that again in a moment, but let's just kind of go ahead and now break it out here. So I can press W to advance forward just like before, and as you can see, we start moving forward. I let off of W though, and I stop moving. The reason for this is because W and S are no longer throttle commands. They're strafe keys. The same way that 2 and 3 were your strafe forward and backward, now W and S are your strafe forward and backward, and A and D continue to be strafe left and right. Your throttle is actually controlled now by the middle mouse wheel, and that is the bar on the left of the HUD that you see moving here. Now, the reason this is important is because you can see here I can change my throttle percentage. Right now we're at 25%, 50% engine power, 75% engine power, and 100%. So the way this works is now I can set, let's say I want to set to 25. I can strafe forward at 25% power by holding W. Just like before, we're now moving forward as long as I hold the W key. The moment I let off the W key, of course, I stop moving forward. Now, one of the major flight control changes here is that our strafe commands are no longer run from directional thrusters, but are all engine components as a whole. This is important because, for example, I can side strafe now, and you're going to see I'm going to take us up to 25% engine power here on side strafe. So I'm going to hit 25% of my max speed running off of my directional thrusters. And yeah, the heat is starting to rise because I'm pushing a lot of power through them. But so you can see there. So the first kind of, again, difference to understand, W and S used to control both your forward and backward strafed momentum in a hold, right? If I went to, let's say I wanted to go up to 85 meters a second, right? In the past, I would hold W and then let go at 85, and it would just continue to go in this direction. Well, now, right, I can adjust my throttle up and speed up, and adjust my throttle down and go down. And mind you, right now, I'm holding the W key down. Now, your hands are going to get kind of tired of doing that, which is why we can introduce the cruise. So this is SCM. By pressing C, I cruise, and I'm now going to cruise to that 25% of my speed here, as you can see. So now we're moving at that. And just like with W and S in the past, where you were under your SCM speed, if I just lower my throttle, we slow down. If I raise my throttle, we speed up. It's very simple. There's nothing crazy about that. The advantage of this is that I can actually bump myself to my full speed without having to afterburn, right? We're not afterburning right now. Afterburn, and we'll talk about that in a moment, isn't used anymore to bypass some special speed. The max speed of this constellation is apparently 988.87 meters a second. And there you have it, right? We're now moving at it. There's no reason, like in the past, you would press W to go to 100% and you'd be at like 190 meters a second. Now I'm at almost 1,000 meters a second, which makes way more sense, right? And I can lower it down. If I want to slow it down faster, I can hold the space brake, which is the X key, and you can see now I'm dramatically dropping my speed. I apologize for the frame rate drops here, guys. The servers are really finicky right now, and this is actually the 6th take of this because I keep getting disconnects, so hopefully we'll get all the way through this. So with that said, right, that's the cruise component. I'm just going to come back out of cruise, and I'm going to kind of again talk about the modes. So right now I have the bar set in what is essentially what our SCM used to be. If I hit C, well, even though we're dropping, you're going to see the system's going to drop us and then hold us at that SCM speed, right? Which, and mind you, yeah, we're a little under just because of the way this is calibrated now, but this is essentially where our SCM speed used to be, right? And now I can raise this up, I can press afterburn, and I'm just going to get there faster. That's all afterburn does now. It's a boost. So that's the easy way to think about that. So like I said, we don't have the modes anymore, right? So I'm going to take us out of cruise now. And I'll space brake us for the interest of time. So we don't have precision mode anymore. Well, this is precision mode right here. I'm just going to bring the throttle way down, and now when I push my throttle up, that's 24 meters a second. So if I'm coming into land, I just drop my throttle way down. This is essentially precision mode. And you're going to see, right, I can turn, and I actually turn without the super mass drag because we're not going very fast. So that's kind of how that part works. So that's precision mode. You just bring your throttle back down. But like I said, the advantage of this is I can actually, like, I'm going to drop. So I'm going to strafe down. I can strafe down at a much higher speed than I was ever able to strafe because it's no longer constrained as a strafe speed. So as you can see, we're just strafing down, 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 down. And I'm not going to go all the way up. But you can see here, we're approaching pretty fast. And I can let go, and yeah, I'm going to have to slow down. But that gives me a lot of capability. So let's break this out. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and drop into our cruise, but we'll keep this kind of slow here. So the kind of last remaining piece of this to kind of bring up is the decoupling. So we can still decouple. So as you can see, we're flying forward right now. I'm going to press V, which is going to bring this icon out. And now I can turn. And shoot. We're still traveling sideways. We're still in that like permanent drift. And what's nice about that is that we're going to continue that permanent drift. Now I can still raise up, raise down, and just kind of follow the stars. And you can kind of see, and then I can even hit V here, and you're going to see we're going to kind of lose some speed. There we go. And now the ship is actually, if you follow the kind of star motion here, you can see we've actually kind of turned and come back to center. The last kind of thing to explain here is, I'm going to try to turn us, is this right here is our vector indicator. So if you're familiar with HUDs from like flight simulators, you understand that this is the actual place we're going, and this is where we want to go over here. So you can see the ship is turning and bringing us on that vector indicator. So that's that part. So like I said before, guys, this is a very basic understanding, but trying to just kind of break down and explain the new flight controls and how they kind of ported from before. So again, just as a kind of reminder here as I try to find Olisar, which I don't think is that one. The control sets could be a little nicer these days. But so let's go ahead and just kind of go back and rehash here. So like I said before, WSAD are now all strafe commands. If I was setting this onto a joystick, I would make that a hat myself. Now, different people have different ways of doing this. Other people have said, no, if you have a HOSAS, make that the second stick. For me, I would do the throttle to the middle mouse throttle control, and I would leave WSAD to a hat because to me, strafing with a hat command makes the most sense. So again, the biggest change in understanding is before W and S were both throttle and a sort of space. When you throttled up, it was just like most real throttles on aircraft today, where if I push the throttle up, my aircraft builds engine power and begins to go forward to where I've set it. As I throttle higher up, right? As I throttle higher up, as I throttle down. That's how the old W and S keys used to work. The important thing to understand now is W and S are strictly strafe forward and back controls. Throttle is changed with the middle mouse on what's called the SCM limiter, and is basically where you're setting your throttle without actually applying engine power to it yet. So think of it as a kind of, right now the clutch is in, and then when I hit C, I let off the clutch and we go into gear. So hopefully that made some sense there. Like I said, guys, this is a very basic and bare bones explanation of some of these changes, but hopefully it helps when you're trying to set up your HOTAS, HOSAS, or just get an understanding of how this new flight model works. We can go ahead and talk about it in the comments below. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit subscribe. I'll be probably making a bunch more of these videos with the new flight model because there's a lot of confusion, and hopefully I explain it in a way that works for people. Like I said, this is not the advanced, all the bells and whistles. There's stuff I didn't cover here. There's stuff I glossed over or oversimplified for the sake of helping people to understand it. But if you want to talk about that in the comments or give your other tips and whatnot down below, please do. It helps people out to see that stuff. As always, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I will catch you all next time.